welcome to Bragging Rights, episode 10. Surprised you remember the amount of beer you've had today.
Well,
no, that's how many beers he's had.
Oh,
that's what he's trying to show you.
To be fair, I don't think it's far off.
Yeah, so we're recording literally as Craig arrives back in Hull after going to Huddersfield away.
Rolled off the coach, rolled into Josh's car, rolled here, and there we go.
Yeah.
We had one in Ravenseth, but pretty much rolled straight.
I actually got back at 6 o'clock, we just didn't tell you.
Yeah. So we're having to do it today. Me and Dean have got plans tomorrow, and I am going to touch on them. I didn't originally want to touch on them, but we're at a funeral tomorrow, and it's a bit of a crap start. But what I really want to do, because I know there's a lot of Hull City fans that watch this, is just thank everyone for yesterday. 69th minute at the MKM, despite how crap of a game it was. 23,000 odd here stood up and applauded the memory of my uncle. So thank you very much to anyone watching, listening that joined in with that. Much appreciated. But before we start crying, I'm going to get on to the sponsor. So this week, sponsored by Chris Griffin Carpets and Flooring. Tell you a bit more about him later. And obviously here at the home of the pod in Tribal on a Sunday, so it is a bit noisy. So if you can hear that, apologies. But we tried telling them to shut up and they just didn't listen.
It's a good advert though, and we keep telling people to come to the home of the pod. When we all normally record on a Monday and it's dead and it looks like no one's ever here.
Yeah.
And when we do it like this, you can see that actually it's a thriving boozer and everyone should come and enjoy
It's
the
decent.
food
Well,
and
we
drink.
were here last night, me and Dean and a couple of the rest of the family, not the rest of, but a couple of members of the family, and it was a good night. DJ
Good food,
Steve
few
Cable.
drinks.
Well, I was just chatting to a couple of Rovers fans that I know that couldn't make the game today with it being Mother's Day, and just how good it was to be able to come here and enjoy the game on the big screen and pretend they were still enjoying Mother's Day but actually got to watch Rovers.
Yeah.
So.
That's the benefits of your parents being all fans. You can just go, I know it's Mother's Day, but Rovers are playing, see ya.
Yeah.
I literally texted her and I said, yeah, I'm not coming to see you on Mother's Day, Mum. Why not, son? Oh, I'm going to Huddersfield.
Blame the RFL.
Yeah, blame the RFL, yeah.
It's a
Two
standard.
Sunday games in a row, though. It's proper throwing me out. So weird.
Yeah, weird.
It's been amazing, but it's been weird.
I do enjoy a weekend game. So, anyway, a bit more structured podcast we're going to have now, aren't we? We had a discussion. We're going to...
A deep conflab.
Yeah, we're going to make sure this is not an hour and a half long anymore. So, we're going to get started with you two, because both teams won, but they smashed it against Huddersfield today, and you are still top of the league.
Ole, ole, as the song goes.
Take it away.
Indeed.
Yeah, before the game, just the one change from us, Budgie, which we've just discussed briefly. Apparently sickness, by all accounts, which meant Artemog got his debut. Get on to Morgan a little bit, and how he went and things like that. But I was a bit annoyed because I had Budgie on me Aka, and he obviously didn't play, but it didn't come in anyway because Tyrone kicked the ball from a yard out for Tom Davis. I was fuming. So
It was at least 10 metres out.
I love the way you bit and then changed it round, saying no, you do that for everything.
Yeah,
But
I didn't bite.
But yeah, so that was the only bit of team news, and it's not a bad swap, is it? Artemog, Super League experience coming in for Budgie. Obviously, I can't say we missed his try scoring because we scored from all over the park today, but especially in that second half. But yeah, it was a good swap to bring in for Morg.
It was a really nice way to be able to introduce Morg to the team without dropping Broadbent, who doesn't deserve to be dropped.
Absolutely.
So by being able to move him to the wing to cover Budgie, who will always miss his try-scoring ability and will always miss his runs out of dummy half in our own half. He's
Especially
so
coming
good.
out backfield as well.
Definitely
He runs
coming
like
out
a
the backfield. Yeah, he's so good. If you're going to do it against a weakened side, Huddersfield is a great one to do it, and it meant we got to see Morg in his natural position at fullback, and really nobody felt left out because, Budgie, touch wood, it's just a small illness, and he missed the game through that, and he should be back. So yeah, no really big changes apart from that, but a good one really.
It could have been a decision Peters didn't want to make going forward, but the decision was made for him, so it was a bit easier for him to introduce Morg.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, we've discussed this. I've discussed it with Josh and I've discussed it with a few other fans that how do we bring him in without dropping Broadbent? Because like Josh just spoke about, he doesn't deserve to be dropped.
No, he don't.
He's been solid for us. He made one mistake last week against Lee, and yeah, he was solid again today. So he just doesn't deserve to be dropped. So, but as a Rovers fan, and you two will probably be a little bit envious, but how nice is it that we get somebody who's injured or ill and we can just stick somebody else in? It's, we've looked at St Helens and Wigan and Leeds over the years, oh, Sinfield's not playing. Don't matter, we'll just stick somebody else in at 6 and they'll go well. And we seem to have that luxury at the moment, whereas last season you guys didn't. You were signing players and then putting them straight into your match squad, sometimes without training. Whereas Mog's now had 2 weeks with the squad.
You've built a squad. You've just said the word. You've built a squad now. So if you do have a couple of injuries, you've got players that are more than capable of coming in and filling that void very easily.
I mean, it's Broadbent, isn't it? Like, I watched the bits of the game today. I was coming back from afternoon tea with my mother. But Broadbent, for me, watching the way that he just slots into any position in your back line, just reminds me of Rich Whiting for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? You just, we need a fullback. All right, go on then.
Yeah, it's
and
so
you know
good
you get
to
a
have.
solid 7 or 8 out of 10.
And you don't want to lose him. And the beauty of you don't want to drop him and lose, pretend you don't have faith in him or make him question his role in the team. And the one thing that hit me today, and this is nothing against the guy, the player, I mean, Reece Martin. I know he didn't play for us last year and we haven't seen a lot of him this year because of his unfortunate injury, but I'd almost forgot that we had him because of the way we've got that squad to fill in. And today when I was looking down the team, and I thought, I hope a few players get a chance in the next few weeks where possible, or maybe after the next few tough games. And it just clicked in my head, oh yeah, Martin, we've still got Martin to come back in a few months' time. And it is nice, we're finally getting sort of the fruits of our reward here of building that squad, slotting them in, and Broadbent's the best example of that. So I was glad to see he was in the team.
Probably see another example next week with Tanganoa, possibly. Bachelor has got to go for scans tomorrow.
Yep.
Possible hamstring injury, so we'll know more in the coming days. But again, Tanganoa will just slot straight in there, and Jack Brown will come from 18th man to being on the bench, probably, knowing how it's been.
Jack Brown would revel in that as well, coming back to Hull. I think would it be the first time he's played against Hull? Or maybe first time he's probably come back to Hull and played, maybe.
Willie, if Budgie's fit, would you not put Broadbent on the bench?
I don't know, that's not my edict to have, but I'm just going like for like.
But Jack Brown coming in is not a bad person to come in, especially against his old club, is what I was trying to say.
Absolutely. And the following, me and Josh discussed it on the way here from pub, and 2,400 as a rough estimate Rovers fans went. And I've seen online the attendance was just over 5,000.
I was going to say, please tell me the attendance was like 4,700.
We was hoping, weren't we?
I said, look, all I've seen is one figure, which is that we had 2,444 fans or something like that.
Yep.
I need to know the full attendance. Not only so I can say 2,400 were no free coaches, but so I can also see if we had more than 50%. Jokes aside, and it looks like we was just below that 50% mark for away travelling fans.
Yeah.
A poor sight on Huddersfield. They've struggled for a long time, and this season's obviously far from their best. And we are one of the better travelling sides, but still, it's woeful to see that few home fans, regardless of the team's performance. And obviously, it's great for us to take that many away fans on Mother's Day, which does play a
forget
part.
about that, yeah.
I don't know where I actually saw it. Somebody had put, I don't know if it was in the group or if it was on Twitter, the two teams combined over the two games have taken over 4,000 fans. So. 4,000 fans. 4,000. How many did you take? 22.
We sold over 2,000 tickets, and when I was going in the ticket queue at Castleford, there was a lot of Hull fans paying on the gate as well.
Yeah.
So I would hazard a guess 2,500 at a push, but still, you're taking nearly 5,000 fans away between two clubs over a weekend.
Just shy of 5k with two clubs from the same city.
It's a cracking effort.
Yeah.
Well, at least when the NRL takes over and the old clubs merge, there'll be a massive following to all the away games.
I didn't want to say anything on that. I was in my head.
Please, let's not go
into
into
that.
that.
4,601, but Jimmy didn't go, so...
Wow.
Hull Kingston Football Club, that's what we'll be called. Black, red and white stripes.
The early Robins.
We're digressing again.
Please, let's not even joke about that.
Before you say about the game then, just some things up front I wanted to put in just to show. We know we're top of the league and we've been playing well. Averaging 1.5 tries conceded up until this game. We've kept that. We now boast the best defensive record in the league after today, but we was like second at the time coming into the game.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And of course, it'll be every week, it'll keep going, but now our best ever start to a League of Rugby since 1984.
Equalled it.
And we've equalled it. And so now we can go one better in 2 weeks' time, Wigan. So just everything's adding up to it's not just some good performances, it's not just playing well. There's sort of that history on our side as well. And I suppose for me, even though I had us predicted to win by 28 in our league and what I thought, I didn't know what Huddersfield would throw at us and what had happened. I know they weren't great. I was nervous because what we say every week, being pessimistic Rovers fans, I just thought, here's a banana skin.
Yeah.
Watch us lose this.
Yeah.
I watched Mikey's interview after the game, and it got mentioned to him 44 points you've conceded
In 6 games.
in 6 games. But he was annoyed at your defence today.
At himself, probably.
You conceded 1 try, and he mentioned in the first half that the defence was poor, like from a technical perspective.
Hey, and before I'm called a jinx, it wasn't me, it was the commentary that was banging on about the fact that Rovers, it was 184 minutes since we'd conceded a try when they brought it up. So
Said it on commentary, and then
I put it in the group
literally
to
a
these
minute
lot.
later.
Next set, they scored.
I heard it and I was like, oh god, it's Wigan all over again.
They did come back and actually say it was a few minutes later. I think it was 187 we went without scoring, I think, in the end. But yeah, I thought, what a jinx that is.
But, anything over 80 minutes in a game of rugby league for not conceding a try is pretty special. So you can kind of understand Mikey's frustration there a little bit. We want to be that benchmark, and that's showing in that sort of interview. It sounds, I haven't seen it, but it sounds like a very mature interview that Mikey's given. Obviously, Jimmy will be able to say yay or nay to that.
Yeah,
but
I'll give him that.
Yeah, so it just speaks volumes to what Peters and the board are doing at the club and what the vision is and where we want to go, doesn't it? But
I think with Mikey's maturity, it's probably one of my favourite things to bring up. Today was another example of his maturity, not so much off the field, but on the field. He was absolutely dusted for their one and only try.
yeah,
He was done.
he wasn't the only one though.
And
Ted
then
Morgan's
and
side,
Morg was done as well. And that Flanagan is a great star of the future.
Big
right?
time.
Mikey used that to turn around his game, to turn in a hat-trick scoring, man of the match, realistically most likely 3 points on the Man of Steel ladder. Fantastic performance that was a 9.5 out of 10 in the end.
Couple of assists as well.
But yeah, 2 assists well. But the way he did it as well, he ended up going up against Flanagan. And to my count, it wasn't 3-1, it was 4-1 that he won in the end. Because it wasn't just that he then dusted him back twice, one with a great handoff. He also had an assist that went inside of him. But also, there was a drop ball from Tanganoa. Mikey dropped a short ball to Tanganoa that Tanganoa dropped. One of Tanganoa's 3 errors on the day, who didn't have his best showing, I will add in. And Flanagan picked it up and went to go. And we've seen the pace he's got, we've seen the step he's got. It was Mikey. It was Magic Mikey's ankle tap
That's
from
come
the
from
floor.
a Rovers fan, ladies and gents.
It was Mikey's ankle tap from the floor, because he'd gone down in the collision afterwards, because he got hit as he offloaded, as he dropped the ball off, to make the ankle tap to stop Flanagan. And I thought that maturity to turn around and turn performance in like that and to play is showing what he can do when he is the centre of attention. Because a lot of my comments recently have been when he's been mature in the second half of games, when games are won, and he's settling down and May's doing more attacking. But he was on attacking fire today, but in a mature way where he turned around and went, you won't do that to me again. In fact, I'll show you why I'm Man of Steel.
I've seen a quote online. One of the rugby league reporters has written up tonight that they say that's Mikey's best ever performance. Now that's not for me to agree or disagree. I'll throw it out to you two.
I can't think of any, just off the top of my head, off the bat, I can't think of any that stand out as a full performance rather than little individual glimpses of brilliance.
Do you think he could have gone into his shell? Some players would have gone into the shell after that. It was a poor defensive read. It was a shocking defensive read, and it possibly brought flashbacks to what happened in the grand final in October back. Some people would have gone into the shell, but he didn't. He just shrugged it off, like, crack on with this.
I think it's definitely one of his top 3 to 5. I can't say off the top of my head. I do remember, again, emotion always comes into it when it comes to derbies and things. I do remember the first game of last season beating you 20-0 at your place. I do remember thinking there's something special about Mikey this year. He was getting battered all game. You didn't offer a lot at that time. We're not going over that game, I know. He wasn't offering a lot. But he really stood up to a lot of adversity in that game and led our team around the park. And it got the first buzz of excitement for last year to go. Mikey's a different beast this year. And I remember that, in my opinion, being one of his really good games.
I think, and I don't want to try and take away from his game today because he was really good. And I'm not you. I don't just bag on Rovers all the time. But I don't think I can. I don't think I can give him that sort of accolade when you're playing Huddersfield this season.
That made me pause a bit as well.
I know you can only sort of play what's in front of you, but you know, Lambworth, when we played, we'd beat Huddersfield this year. Do you know what I mean? They're that bad. So
they are bad. They are bad, to be fair, but
it's a bit wider than that.
He had a good game, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, he had a really good game.
A really good game, of course. Was it his best ever? I wouldn't agree to that right now.
So, one thing I just want to touch on with Mikey's maturity levels is where Flanagan kicked it and he caught it on the full. And previously, we'd probably seen Mikey try and back himself and go the full length, but he slowed it down, took the tackle, and we built on that, which for me was something that I really like seeing. Like, yeah, it's all well and good watching a player back himself and try and go around the outside. He might go into touch, he might score or whatever, but it just showed that bigger picture a little bit where it's not all about me. You know, I've made this break, but now my teammates can reap the rewards, which we did after what was a poor pass because it went to ground. But how many times do you see scores coming from broken play where the ball's hit the ground? So I did enjoy seeing that. I thought that was a real mature part of that.
I agree. And look, it's not all about Mikey today, even though he was very, very good. But he was a danger for 75-80% of that game when he ran up the line. When you're breaking tackles, when you're playing like that, and you know, when you feel like it's on, you feel like you can beat the defensive line in front of you, you do have a go a few more times. And then when it's working, when you've got a try assist or two to your name, you've got a couple of tries, you're hunting for your hat-trick. I understand why he went for it so many times, and it came off so many times. But then he did the right thing every time afterwards. Yeah. The times he made a break and didn't pass the ball because it wasn't on. He was thinking about ball possession. We're well up by 20, 30 points, so do we need to worry about getting this offload away? We're not trying to win him a dying embers. And yeah, I think overall he showed a really mature game, and that's a good example of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So the game on the whole was a bit night and day for me. That first half, we went in 16-4 at half-time, I think it was. Excuse me. But it was very hit and miss, that first half. You know, we didn't look our usual selves. Now, we spoke on the way here. Have we possibly got one eye on next week? That was one of the things that sort of crept into me. We was playing it maybe 50-60% in that first half. And yeah, like I say, we went in front, but I think from the level of success we've been accustomed to over the past 18 months or so, yeah, it was just a bit disappointing that we came out and played it like that.
Don't discredit Huddersfield on this, though.
No, they
was very in your face, and I think that maybe surprised you a little bit because of how they have been this season. And you did have an eye on next week, but you seem to weather that storm. And then once you'd switched on and got everything into gear, everything started to come together in that second half, you showed what we could really do.
Get ready for it. I'll try and make this succinct because I know I'm the one that rambles. I sent you all a message earlier about a Huddersfield fan online had posted.
Yeah.
And it said, this first half, we're not playing like the 12th place team in this league. We're playing like a bottom six team, but we're showing some heart and courage. And I'm not trying to say that Huddersfield were great or anything, but in that first half, they really was. And they did play that bit better than I've seen them most of this year. So they was in our face, and I think that played a part of it, and we wasn't really out of second gear. Obviously, we blew them away in the second half. Also giving credit again to Peters and the team and the plan that we have for games. The stats were coming up repeatedly on the TV today. Huddersfield have been so much worse in the second half of all their games. Always conceding a hell of a lot more tries. Always losing by big margins. Average conceded 40 points in the second half, but only 20 in the 20 in the first, 30 in the second, I think. And that's exactly what happened. So don't forget that we can be planning for that. Peters has got the team doing that and saying, actually, don't worry about the first half. We've got the stamina, the fitness, the legs, the game plan, etc., to blow them away in the second. So it'll be dismayed at the errors and the penalties that we gave away. But I don't think the plan went askew too much. So I think that's a part of it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those games where you said we didn't really get out of second gear. Sometimes we went into third where we'd made breaks. But the luxury of it was, McIlaurin played 50-55 minutes before Jez came on. And it was then, I'm not disrespecting McIlaurin or anything like that, but Jez just brings a different energy when he comes on. You know what you're getting from Mickey Mack, you're getting that solid, 9 times out of 10 he's not going to miss a tackle. And then when Jez comes on, it's like, we don't know what's going to happen here. I don't even think Jez knows what's going to happen.
The full team to up a gear. after about 55,
They have
60
to
minutes.
because he's so quick around the road.
Maybe, yeah.
I need a pod on my own for an hour to talk about how well we're using Mickey McAlorum, because I've threatened it for weeks, and how it plays into our game plans, and it's so good. And we did it today. They was absolutely busted by the second half. By 10 minutes in, there wasn't bending the back properly to make tackles. There was fatigued. We was running riot everywhere across the pitch. Part of that is what we do with Mickey Mack in the opening half and the opening 30. And that's where it came from. And then you unleash Jez. And it's such a weapon to have. And people calling for Jez to start the game is not what we need. This interchange is working really well. And it feels a shame that Jez doesn't start. And it's like, he's all starting, okay. It works. Don't mess with the formula.
I think Jez knows that as well. And when he does come on, he shows what he does do and what he can do. And, you know, he puts himself in the England shop window and things like that. So it's absolute. Everything we're doing at the minute, I sound like I'm just, pardon my breaking voice, but
So that you had a drink or two, to be fair.
all right, I know. Yeah, just everything seems to be working, and I know I'm blowing our trumpet and things like that, but it's been a long time, never in our generation, that we've seen a Rovers side, I'm going to put this in inverted commas, be this good.
Yep.
I don't want to, because obviously it's like we spoke about last week, it's a long season. I don't want to say, oh, we're absolutely superb, blah blah. At the moment, everything we are doing is working.
It is a long season, but what you're doing to every team that you need to do it to so far, you're putting them to the sword. Did it against Salford, done it against Huddersfield,
And Lee, which
and
is
Lee. Yeah.
somewhere where we've struggled in.
A team where you maybe
seasons.
weren't expected to put them to the sword as such.
Did it
You're
against
doing
Saints at Saints. I mean,
We've
it's
actually
good.
caught St Helens up now
We-
in the points
yeah.
difference.
which was good. We need to be more positive about ourselves, but we're very cagey. I'll give my closing comments before you, Craig, and then we'll run in.
Yeah. Sure.
For me, we should feel better about a massive win like that. We're just still a bit nervous about a lot going on. I'm very pleased. I think apart from a few dodgy penalties and the try in the first half, it was a very good performance, not complete. We came very good in the end, great win, absolutely buzzing. Players for me that stood out, Mikey of course had a great game, turned around after the first try being partly at fault. I thought Sue and Whitbread in the middle was outstanding today, deserved a lot of credit. And then Jez we've spoke about, but finally just a big shout out. I thought Morg showed some extra today and cemented for me that he's probably going to be our fullback going forward, and he is. Unfortunate to say, he is that step up from Evalds that we expected he could be. A few more games to go, long season, but what he's shown today was very good.
Yeah, there was a couple of errors from him where you'd put
He
that
grew
down
into
to
the game. He really grew into the game.
Absolutely, yeah. There was a couple of early balls that he let bounce, high balls, but then after that it was underneath them and things like that. So, and there was a couple of times where you could tell he's not played with the squad before because it wasn't quite crisp like we used to from Rovers over the last 18 months. But on the whole, we did what we needed to do. Didn't really get out of second gear. So hopefully have plenty in the tank for next week. So
Yeah. So, go again.
yeah, well
Okay.
done. Cheers. Yeah,
Right.
I'm going home now.
Let's sponsor. Yeah, we ready? Good to go. Right. Yeah. So this week's sponsor, as you can see on screen, Chris Griffin Carpet and Flooring. Dean, pick up your microphone because you might be able to tell people a bit more about what Chris does for a living.
Chris fits carpets. No, Chris's lads fit the carpets. Chris, I know Chris really well, cousin of
Married
but
to
Chris,
our cousin.
Yeah, but Chris taught me, so yeah, I can vouch for Chris. He's all right.
He's all right.
He's all right.
And his
I
lads
can't
are
pick him up
decent
too
as well.
much because we're in the same trade.
What a glowing review.
Yeah, so if you're looking for carpets or flooring, give Chris a ring, 07949 602 332. I'll put the number on screen for you as well if I can figure out how to do that. Let's move on and talk about FC.
Job done.
Yeah?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Did you?
So I enjoyed the last 15 minutes.
Okay.
Not that much. So I missed the game. It's the first one this season I've missed. For anyone on Twitter that wants to call me out for not going to the game again.
My 11-year-old hasn't missed a game yet. Just saying.
I was at a conference that I could not avoid.
Still managed to leave the conference early though, didn't you?
Yeah, so there was a fire. there was a fire alarm.
I did giggle at that.
So we
one,
all got
sorry.
kicked out at about the 65-minute mark for FC, which is apparently when I'd normally leave the FC game, according to Josh.
Bit late for you, but yeah.
So yeah, I got to watch their last 2 tries on my phone. But I have seen the highlights, and Dean's filled me in a little bit about what happened, because Super League Plus are awful and you can't watch it yet. But all in all,
Job done.
yeah, job done.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Sounds like a
I would
pretty
say-
fair assessment. That's the word I was looking for.
I would say for the first 40 minutes, it was probably the most complete we'd looked. Everything we was doing, we looked good at. We looked comfortable in defence. Apart from Caesar's poor read for Cassie's first try, they didn't really trouble us in attack. When we got down their end, we looked dangerous. And it, like, as a full package, it was the best we've looked all season for 40 minutes and 40 minutes again. We mix things up well. Cuss Caesar Asiate is a combination that's now starting to flow a little bit better. And then you've got Eamon and Knight laying the platform. And I think for the first time this season, both our props come off the bench, SA and Ashworth, and complemented the 2 starting props and carried on what they was doing. It's still just a 40-minute performance, and that's what's niggling in the back of my mind. And I'd like to see us get away from.
I think I wasn't going to jump in too much on it from last week, but the comments about me online about, I thought I was praising FC quite a lot last week.
Well,
and
we said that.
And it seems to have gone the wrong way online. I've got a lot of comments about bagging FC and clearly a Rovers fan. And I kept saying about how much heart and passion you were showing. And tongue-in-cheek, I've messaged you lads saying, when are you going to do an 80-minute performance? Because if that was such a good 40-minute performance, but it is an 80-minute performance, it's not fair for me to say. If you're grinding out wins like you did again, and you're beating teams, you're beating them by clear margins, not by a drop goal or 1 score, which you did again, it's not fair to say it's only 40 minutes. It's just that your first 40 was particularly better than your second.
Yes. The first 40 was really, really good. And like I said, I felt very satisfied going into half-time. It's the first time since the Catalan game we've been that comfortable in a game, I would say. And then coming away from the game after 80 minutes, I've got that niggling doubt in, why did we not turn up as much? But then I've looked back at the game, and these reasons, I don't want to make excuses up for Hull, but these reasons why I think that is, and we'll get into that soon. But I just want to talk about the tries in the first half.
I love the little comment you've put.
Well, I've wrote down 3 things guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and Eamon crashing over from 10 metres out. And
You're
what
not
away,
stopping him. Simple as that.
Not many teams can
Not
stop
many,
him.
yeah.
And it was a great way for him to celebrate his new 3-year deal that was announced just prior to the game. He had a hand in the second try again. It was a barming run, bounced off the defender, offload to Burrow, passed it on to Cust it, Briscoe with a fantastic line.
That was a superb
It was a
line
beautiful
by Briscoe,
line. Stood Hoy up a little bit with a little shimmy. Ashworth backing up. And then I don't know, I've got to give credit to Hull FC Stats on Twitter, because he posted the picture up that I sent you guys. If you're looking at the picture halfway through Briscoe's break, just as he's about to get to Hoy, who's the Castleford fullback, Caesar is the furthest Hull player away from the ball.
Yeah.
And is that what you was trying to show?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what you was trying to show, yeah.
And
I'm just showing Josh it here now.
he ended up scoring that try with a bit of a speculative dive, shall we say. Bit of an endo.
It's a good 15
He's
15
probably
metres behind there.
So, and that sums our players up this year. That effort and desire to get on the end of thing, that will to win, I say, because that's something we really have got in this squad this year. And proper captains leading from the front, that, like, all right, I'm going to go for it then. I'm not saying that the other players wouldn't, but I am busting my ass off to get to the end of that ball, because I want to get on the end of that for my teammates. So that was good to see. And then rounded off that first half with a smart short side play. Briscoe going in off a lovely Cust pass. So going into half time, very comfortable. And I was hoping at that point for another 2 or 3 more tries and to really wrap the game up and put it to bed.
Watching your first 40 there, I was very impressed.
Yeah.
You know, I thought you'd have more of a struggle, because I thought...
You're nervous.
Very nervous.
We've struggled in
Always
first
nervous.
halves as a whole this season.
You've struggled a bit in first halves, and also I just kept thinking when I did my predictions, as I've said, when's it going to run out using the same players so much? And they went out and proved me wrong straight away. I thought it'd be a close game. And they did, because they actually played less than a team trying to grind a win out. By the end of the game, you did grind a win out. That's what you had to do. But in that first half, it was like, no, we don't grind wins out. We go out and attack. We beat teams in every part of the field. We will do well. We will score good tries. And that's what you did. Yeah. And I was sat there saying, I tell you what, if I was an Hull fan, I'd be pleased here.
Really
you
was.
look good.
Really was. And you could sense that. Everyone was really happy and content at half-time. There was none of that nervousness that we've had at all the other games this season.
How long did you queue for chips at half-time?
I didn't have any. We stopped at McDonald's goal on the way home.
No wonder he asked me to message him when I went past
I
goal.
don't turn up for a game, and that's the game you decide to stop at McDonald's.
Yeah. It's so easy to sow seeds of discontent between them, aren't they?
Wow.
But, I was just going to say about Caesar. I've always said, and especially with the Mark Sneed incident, you don't want your halfbacks to perform when the team's performing. You want your halfback to perform when the team's not performing. You want them to step up and take that game by the scruff of the neck. And Caesar did that for me on Thursday.
He did that against Wakefield the week before when no player really stood out. Maybe Herman did, but he's done that every game this season. No player was really standing out and going, well, who's going to grab the game by the scruff of the neck here and win it? And Caesar did that.
Mikey did it after they got back to 6-4 for us today.
Who got man of the match?
On Thursday?
Yeah.
Herman.
Yeah.
Of course
So he's still... as long as the Man of Steel committee agree, then he'll still be top of the Man of Steel ranking. I was quite surprised, pleasantly surprised.
Rightly so.
Top of the Man of Steel ranking so far.
I wasn't too surprised. If you look across...
For a prop.
For a prop, I agree.
Oh, yeah.
I actually looked at the Man of Steel rankings earlier with Evie, because we was talking about them when we was watching the Rovers game, and I was explaining how it works. And last year we had a long debate about people in poorer teams getting more points. So Sneed last year at Salford, getting lots of points.
Oh, it's a bit of injustice to Salford.
No. Yeah, or a player being clearly better and being the leader of another team.
Okay. Big fish, little pond.
Yes,
kind of thing.
and then sometimes they'll have poorer games where he's still very good. And this year, for you guys, you've had start your season unthinkable at the beginning of the season for you, so I'm not bagging on you for that. Amazing where you are, doing really well. Think that it's deserved as well for the heart and effort. But if there's been one player that's turned up for every minute he's been on the pitch for every game, you only have one, and it's SASA. Even Caesar, that, you know, I'm happy to eat my words on some points. He's turned up for 40 minutes of some games, disappeared for 40 of others. He's played 60 of one game, disappeared for 20 of others. Do you know, and so on. SASA, every minute on that pitch, shows why he's the best prop in the league. So I'm not surprised that at the end of every game, when they're looking at close games between you and Wakefield, etc., SASA gets the Man of Steel points, and he deserves to be at the top. So I wouldn't be as shocked as you've made out there, Jimmy, because he has been outstanding.
It's not usually you see a prop, though, is it? And
but when it's
nice
so
to
clearly
see,
that
though, props, not just your halfbacks, not just your pivot players, are getting a bit of recognition. I like to see that. I'm going to do a Craig here. So, second half.
Ooh. I hadn't done that. I think I did that about twice.
Mate,
at
it's
the
your
start
thing,
of the
and we
pod.
just dig on it now.
Like
so
two times in episodes 1 and 2 of maybe like episode 3 or 4 or whatever of season 1, when it was just me and Jimmy, and then they just run with it.
We
These
started
FC
quite
fans
well.
living in the past.
We had the ball on their line in the build-up to Cust injury, and we looked pretty dangerous for them first 3 or 4 minutes before we got injured. But when he went off, we just couldn't adjust to losing a pivot again.
Yeah.
Wakefield the week before, it took us 50 minutes-ish before Caesar grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck, and we didn't do it at all on Thursday. We couldn't get a grip of that game again. It seemed to just disappear from us. Yes, we did score. Sorry. You weren't there, so I'm just sorry.
I wasn't there, man.
You wasn't there.
Sorry, I don't have the right to talk.
Go on. Sorry.
Please tell us,
McDonald's.
James.
No, so I was going to ask, because you mentioned before the recording that you now see a bit more about what Cust might be for us. And my question is, it kind of aligned to what Josh said last week about Warrior Hargreaves and the things that people aren't seeing so much that Hargreaves is doing for them. Are we getting to a point now where we're starting to see what Cust is doing for us?
We could possibly answer that question after next week if he's missing.
Yeah.
No,
So
there is a little bit of a question mark over whether he'll be missing or not, isn't there?
There is that, and I'll get into that in a minute, because I want to ask everyone's question on this, if they know any sort of different ruling.
I think I do know why, but we'll get to it. Can we stay on Cust for this reason then with you, Jimmy? I think you alluded to, unfortunately, you almost didn't talk it into existence, You spoke about giving Cust a bit more credit last week than you'd been giving him, and realising that he was a very solid player across the park, but he wasn't doing anything setting the world alight.
Yeah.
And because he wasn't flashy, he was almost underrating him. On Thursday night, the moment he went off, everything you said came to light. You went, oh my God, look what we're missing.
Yep.
And you'd lost that pivot.
Has he been the perfect foil?
I actually think he has been. I think that perhaps, as you rightly said, we didn't see it.
Quietly going about the job. You know, like when you're at work and you've got that one person in the office that's just real quiet all day. They don't stand out. That's not you. They don't stand out, but they just get their job done. And then they have the one-to-one with the manager and they're like, is there anything you need? No, I'm just going to keep doing my job. You know, that kind of person.
You wonder how they ever get anything done because they never seem to be doing anything, but they're doing everything.
But they're actually just doing absolutely everything they need
yeah.
to, and nothing more, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's Cust for me.
Yeah.
And I think it's become apparent last week. Last week it was kind of, oh God, like, have we just fallen apart? This week, it's kind of pointed it out a little bit more that it's not necessarily that we fell apart last week. It's just that we actually lost quite a big cog in the machine.
And
I just think it was noticeable. That was my point.
It was. Saying that, though, we did score after Cust went off. It was against 12 men, and it's the Asiata Caesar Martin partnership, which has already proved so fruitful for us already this season, and long may that continue, because that seems Asiata with a first ball season, and then either the kick or the pass.
It's a superb word, that, fruitful.
Can I say something?
Go on.
Lewis Martin, fastest or joint fastest now to 10 tries in the Super League for Hull FC alongside
Of a season. It's not Super League. He's got a few in the cup.
Okay, of their season, joint with Steve Prescott.
Oh, good.
Well, I'm
Good
ready
stat.
to get lynched on this as well. I didn't think he did a lot on Thursday night until he scored.
That's a winger's job.
Yeah, and then I thought, why are you complaining?
What's
Like,
the old saying?
Because he's been so good previous games, obviously the Wigan game being an exceptional one. He didn't seem to be taking as many carries, in my opinion, or making as many metres. And yet then when you needed him, perfect winger just turned up to score a great try. And I thought, why are you mad about that?
All a winger needs to do, score tries,
Yeah,
not concede tries, and not make mistakes.
it was great.
Yeah,
it was a
That's
good try.
As long as he's not dropping an eye ball, missing a tackle on the try line, or, you know, I don't know, just knocking on, I don't care.
What's the old saying? Forwards win the game, backs decide by how much.
Yeah, it's along them lines, isn't it? And
that
also
sums
after that,
Martin
as well,
up perfectly.
our other winger, Briscoe, he did drop the ball over the line, so the game could have been well and truly put to bed.
Yeah.
When all the players come back on after the sin bins, which I want to touch on in a minute. But just to finish up on the actual game itself, it started to become very stop-start after that. We seemed to go into let's see the game out mode, and this is what was bugging me at the end of the game and most of the weekend until I've really looked back into the game. But then you think, and Cartwright mentioned this did we have an eye on the derby, which you guys have mentioned about your team? It was in the video of the players just before they started singing the song after the game. He addressed the players and said that we've had 2 back-to-back 6-day turnarounds, which for a smallish squad like we've got, it could be tough. And after the Wigan game, I don't want to make an excuse up, but I'm just possibly. So I can see why we did go into that mode and it would become really slow, and it was very stop-start. There was a couple of yellow cards. Cass made it a bit grubby. But I'll go back to it. We got the job done. And at the end of the day, that is what matters at this time of year.
So Cass steps up to your level?
Possibly.
Yeah.
It's so easy, especially for like a Rovers fan like me, to sit here and say the last 20 minutes was really poor. But it doesn't actually matter because you ground out a win, right? And you've got to remember where we've come from. Every team in the league, where you started, where you expected to be. Where you're sitting in the league now and the way you've performed was, as I've already said once tonight, almost unthinkable, right? Mm-hmm. And yet, you want your team to ground it out. There's nothing wrong with your team bedding it down, getting into the sort of niggle at the end and pushing through and having a boring 15 minutes. If it takes the 2 points home, it's not pretty and you might expect more, but I think maybe that's you almost, as we are too pessimistic about Rovers sometimes, you're almost remembering the good times a bit too much and going, we should be putting 4 more tries past them and really putting it to bed. Nah.
Maybe that was me getting a bit carried away because we've been a second half team.
Yeah.
So yeah, yellow cards.
Yes.
Can I ask your views on both of them quickly? I know we've not got long left.
About 4 minutes, I reckon.
Yeah.
What gives?
So there was
what give that away?
the Castleford one. Was it a yellow
Sorry.
for you?
I'm trying to think.
The one on
I don't-
Cust.
It
was
wasn't for me.
No,
don't think
it
I've
wasn't
seen
for
it,
me.
to be fair.
And everyone around us at the game said no.
I'm going to hold my hands up. I've been on nights the last few nights, and then obviously yesterday I was in bed most of the day, and then today I've
As
been
mentioned
to
for me,
Rovers,
I've
so-
not had a chance to watch the full replay because Super League Plus is crap. And the highlights only show one angle.
Yeah.
And it looks very much front to front kind of tackle, chest to chest kind of thing. I read one comment
that
on.
Senior, the ball and all tackle
Yes.
where he not a yellow card.
Yeah.
I have seen that one.
Can I finish?
Sorry.
I watched, not watched. I saw one comment on Twitter. I think it was a Leeds fan said the game's gone, and then the reply underneath was, "Don't know what you're on about. He's just left the imprint of his shoulder in Cust's face." And then I'm like, "Well, I need to see it." And then I see it, and I'm like, I don't
think-
really get that second comment.
I don't think that's fair as well to say left a shoulder imprint in his face. One of the commentators on Thursday night said he needs to do better and bend his back regarding Senior here to make the tackle. Senior's a very tall person, right? If
6'5".
So he should be used to it then.
If he bends his back there when a player's dropping at that height, that is a shoulder to the face, right on the point.
Yep.
That was a player's face hit a bit of upper chest and shoulder for me, and
And
I'm
not forget, Cust dips a little bit
That's
just
what I'm saying,
before
he's
impact.
losing
So,
height.
Yeah.
I think that you could forgive a penalty and say it's accidental head contact, but even then I'd be a bit grumbling.
I would have not complained if the ref had just carried on with his knock on.
Well, I think that what Craig said was perfect. That's what you coach the ball and all tackle.
Yeah. Amir Burrows. The,
That one I haven't
the
seen.
alleged tip.
That's a joke for me.
That one I haven't seen. I will watch it and let you know next time we record.
I don't think there's a lot in it.
No, I don't think he landed on his shoulder, but because he rolled a little bit. But for me, his body's vertical. Yes, his legs are high, but I always thought
Horizontal. Please say horizontal.
horizontal.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
vertical.
Did I say
Vertical's that way.
vertical?
Vertical would be very bad.
Did I say vertical?
Yeah, unless
Sorry.
his feet were at the bottom.
He was on the perpendicular.
Yeah.
It's on the x-axis.
And I just think because he twisted so his shoulder landed first, the ref said that, didn't he? And he landed on his shoulder.
I felt it was the letter of the law that he'd gone beyond the axes because the way his shoulder twisted, and it almost felt, not to blame the player here, almost like the player would manipulate himself into that position.
Yeah.
Yes, you've
And we've
lifted the
seen
legs.
that quite a bit.
See that quite, yeah.
Yeah, it's creeping in, isn't it?
It's
It's,
the-
it's very upsetting.
It's the same as when players get a light contact but go to the ground, so tries are written off because they've impeded them.
Yeah.
Players are using the rules to their advantage.
Which is it's part of the game. It's gamesmanship at the end of the day, and you're never going to rule it out. You change the rules one way or the other, and they'll change
find
the way
another
that
way.
they're manipulating the rules.
I'd have been happy with both being non-yellows though.
Yeah, for me too. Just a couple of performances. We mentioned the props. I'd like the back three: Rapiner, Martin, and Briscoe carried really well, all over 150 metres. Briscoe probably his best performance to date since returning to the club. And a shout out to Davy Litton. Been out for a long time, looked really busy, some nice touches. Yes, he looked rusty, but it's great to see him back.
gonna win,
Looking
And-
forward to seeing how he can
Yeah.
push on now.
I did
Same
call it
with us
last
with
week.
Morg.
Looking forward to him kicking on, really developing, and then coming to join his best mate Mikey at Rovers in a year's time.
And I
We'll
will
do what
shout.
we did with Hodgson and then
I will shout out to our supporters as well. Yes,
Yeah.
we put on 12 free coaches, which amounts to about 700.
Yeah.
There's probably around about 2.5 there, but still Thursday night, and we spoke about with you
Yeah.
like the amount that both teams are taking away, no matter how they're getting there, is just great to see, and we're showing what rugby is about in this city at the minute.
Absolutely.
Just take a little bit of niggling on it because, yeah, you're going to get the banter about the free travel.
Of course we are.
It is kind of irrelevant from what you've just said. It's great to see so many fans travelling. It'll be great to see it if you carry on a winning run.
Yeah.
You'll probably keep doing that. Let's see what happens if you lose a few. Let's see what happens if you stop providing free travel. But while it's there, great.
We've
and
had,
let's
we've
keep
had to
getting
find
fans
ways to
going.
get
Some
fans
bucks
back
in it.
Of
interested.
course it is.
And
Yeah. Well, absolutely. Like you said, you've got to find a way to reconnect.
Closing comment from me to make at least one of our YouTube commenters happy, as I have agreed with Dean that I will no longer be comparing this season to last season. I feel like we have pushed on enough now.
Does that deserve a standing ovation? I think it should.
Shut up.
Do you know when I read that comment? We can say when I read that comment on YouTube, I thought Does that refer to both teams? Does that refer to Hull or Rovers specifically?
I think it was about me because
And
Yeah, it was.
I think on on
Say
your
it like it
side,
is,
maybe.
for us, it's a realistic thing to compare to because we came so close.
Yeah.
We've kept the hardcore of the main squad, and we've got so many comparisons for a semi-final for a Challenge Cup, a grand final, a second in the league, a Man of Steel. It's fair to compare. For you guys, I think it's about time you could start maybe saying, let's try and really forget about last year, because you are night and day difference. And as one of my 5 comments on your game I always try and do, which I've already said, is, as a Hull fan, you've got to be so ecstatic with the starts of the season.
Well, I was just about to wrap up and say we're on 9 points at the minute, and we beat Wigan in the cup. I would have snatched your hand off for 6 points at this point of the season. Was that?
I'd snatch your hand off for 2 at this point of the season.
Just
compared to
compare-
last season.
Just compared to last season, how many points did you have?
9 points
We
coming
ended
up to
with 6
Easter
total last season. So
and
Anyway,
into the cup derby.
Susan
I'm
is
happy.
frantically
Yeah.
ranting on his whiteboard to tell us to shut the F up and move on.
I love the fact that he
So-
thought we would stop because he had the whiteboard.
Yeah.
Because he's written it.
Because basically, Josh's mum's got a Mother's Day present today. You've got a whiteboard so you can write stuff on and tell us what
I
to
wouldn't
do.
mind, but I can't even see him because I'm facing you 3, and he's
Yeah, and
off
there's
to
a
my
When he was
tri-
right,
doing
so I
the
can't
Rovers
even see him.
section, he was
There's a
putting your
tripod
ball
in
up
the
and you weren't
way.
even
I couldn't
looking.
see 'cause I was looking over
He
there.
keeps putting it up, and like for me, he's just hiding it behind the tripod. So I'm like, "What are you written?" Like, but anyway,
It's like being at Craven Park, isn't it?
now
Way
we
down
need to
close.
talk about. You're going to press the button. You ready? Tell me when. Thumbs up.
Oh,
thumbs
he's
down.
very bitchy today, isn't he?
I don't know what that means.
I think he's just drawn a
press the
balloon
button.
floating away. I don't
right.
know what it means.
So this
Here we
week
go.
at Tribal, all we are advertising this week at Tribal is the fact that they will be showing the derby on Saturday, kick-off at 2:30. This is not really for all FC fans because we've got plenty of tickets, but for the Rovers fans that sold out their more than adequate allocation in about 20 seconds. Come to Tribal, watch the game, get some beers.
Some good food.
Yeah, some great food, and enjoy it on the big screen or many of the smaller screens.
I'm not going to bite at that comment from Jimmy because I got a ticket for the Challenge Cup. I didn't get one for the league, but I'm not going to bite at the Challenge Cup one.
Yeah,
so,
so
well
and
done.
also 15% off if you bring your season pass with you, and
Which we will do because they're on our phones,
yeah.
as I proved tonight.
Can't leave it home, can you? It's on your phone.
Well, you kind of feel leave your phone at home, like you. Don't take my phones on nights out. I'm having a drink.
Wow.
I like that.
No, it's just every time we're abroad on a stag do or anything, I just leave my phone in the hotel room and I just go, and then I might not make it back to the room till like 8 a.m. the next morning. No one can contact me. I could be dead in the Mexican desert. But when I do turn up, it's like the second coming of Jesus, right? And we just get back on the beers. But everyone's
just
always
walk
like,
in.
oh,
Some effort though if you're in Portugal and you end up there.
Go to Portugal on a stag and end up in the desert in Mexico. We should try it.
well, I once took a pedalo to Africa from Magaluf, so I know what I'm talking about.
All right, Freddie foot off.
Wow, Susan's losing his mind.
What's next, Susan?
What's next? Go
he's
on,
ranting.
flashes your board. Don't kick off. Quick preview. Oh, okay.
There is another point for the cup preview then. If
Okay.
Tribal is rammed or other people want a bit more of a match day environment, not to detract people from coming to the sponsor and home of the pod, because we didn't get a very adequate amount of seating for the game
You
on
got
Saturday.
more than adequate
I
amount
got
of
one, so I
seating.
don't care.
Hey, it's fine. Rovers are putting it on the big screen in Craven Street. Tickets are a tenner. You get a pint and admission for that. Or a drink, I should say. It doesn't have to be an alcoholic beverage.
Can I just point out, right, because I have seen on X that people are kicking off that they're actually charging a tenner for this.
People want things for free, don't they? It's
Like,
just,
so who's? I think they just expect your owners, because you're apparently quite well off.
We've got more money than you,
No, you haven't. To pay for the electricity, pay for the stewards, pay for the staff, and all that themselves. Like,
We say this every week. The people that choose to post on those and make ridiculous comments are not worth listening to or paying attention.
No.
For
And,
a very
let's-
large amount of fans that may be frustrated they can't go to the KC, don't want to go to Hull City Stadium because they don't like it or whatever, there is another option where they can feel the matchday experience, because I reckon there'll be a big crowd that will go to Craven Park to watch it on the big screen and enjoy Craven Street.
you missed the word council off the end of Hull City.
I think we sold
But
3,000
also,
tickets
I mean,
already.
what do you expect? Like you
He's saying
can't.
300, but I wanted to do it to wind him up.
What? What's-
He's saying, right, he was going, we've sold 300 tickets, but I just thought I'd say 3,000 to see how he reacted.
Wow.
He's an angry man, isn't he?
He is a very angry lady.
Woman. Yeah. He is a very angry lady. I
we
don't
get-
know what
we get
pronouns
shown
to
a
use
clock
nowadays.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I just wanted to include that at the start of the cup discussion.
Cool. Well, this is the bit I've not been looking forward to. Actually talking about
A derby.
a derby. Because
first
not
one in the
only
season.
are we going to do this now, we're going to do this again in 2 weeks.
Yeah, but we'll have some context next week, so it'll be all right.
Yeah, it might be even worse in 2 weeks. Well, it will be for one group of us.
Well, will it?
Well, yeah.
Because there's
'cause-
no... Yeah, you'll have lost a derby, but there's no pressure on you guys.
You can focus on the league after next week.
You know...
You can, can't you?
It's a rough 3 weeks coming up for both teams,
That's
because
it.
we've got Derby, we've got Warrington, you've got Wigan,
We're
and then
at home,
another
you're away.
Derby. Well, it don't matter, is it? It's still Warrington and Wigan, isn't it? Like,
Wigan... I'm going to take a leaf out of Josh's or Dean's book here. Wigan have struggled coming to
They
Craven
normally do,
Park.
but they're coming off a week off.
That's
And we'll
valid.
touch on that next week anyway.
yeah,
what
sorry
that
about
is,
that.
so-
Sorry for giving them the rest.
It's all right.
Yeah,
But
sorry.
Set up this mouth water, didn't it? It's all good.
Yeah.
I was actually. So I'll admit, when it came out, I was gutted. Unlike Josh, I think you said you wanted us in the final, if anything. I would have liked you in the semi-final because I would have loved to have been the reason.
Not play you
Not
at all.
I'd like to not get
Yeah.
interrupted. I'd love to have been the. I'd love to have been the reason that you didn't get to a final, because at my heart, along with Dean and Craig's, couldn't take a derby final.
No, absolutely not.
So getting you this early in the competition, I know it's only one round earlier, but this early, not that great for me. But then off the back of the last couple of weeks that we've had, with the injuries that we've got going into this game, I'm now very, very twitchy about it. Like, I was initially thinking we might have the heart and the passion to keep ourselves in this game, because it's a derby at the end of the day. Form goes out the window for the most part, as long as you've got that will to win. But now I really am starting to get a bit twitchy about the players that are going to be missing, because they are big players for us. Players like Hardacre might be missing, Cust might be missing. It's... Yeah.
Looking at the injury list, we've got up to 16 possibilities out.
How many of them would you class as first team? Because like you see a lot, don't you? They've got 17
we'll just
injuries,
go
but
we'll talk
none of
about
them are
Cust, because
reserves.
we didn't talk about that. My understanding was failed his HIA. It's 10 days. So him not coming back on, I thought failed HIA, done for the derby, back for Warrington the week after. Now I saw this in Hull Live yesterday. Cartwright hasn't ruled Cust out just yet. The halfback left the field to a HIA, with the outcome of that determining whether or not he plays on Saturday.
So let
How?
me butcher this, and everyone listening, watching, whatever, don't take this as verbatim, but it depends on the grading. So it can be a grade 1 HIA or a grade 2.
Right.
And a grade 1, if I got this right, around being the worst, and comes with a 10 or 11 day rest period.
11.
But a grade 2 only gives you a 7 day, which means that it can't be fairly assessed initially, because you have to have follow-up diagnosis, because obviously it's happening in the heat at the moment. The medics that are independent on the field, and my doctors have to say, is this player fit to return, to contact him in the next 20 minutes or whatever. But after the fact, when you can sit down the next day and do further tests and see how a player is, they can then give a proper grading. And if it is only a grade 2, the stand-down period is less,
Right.
which would mean that he can be in time. The only problem you have in that situation, if I'm right in that again, not 100%, I think it's roughly that, is that the 7 day turnaround is good because you played on Thursday and we play on Saturday. It's whether you risk him or not. Like, a cup run is an amazing thing. And you've got a chance because it's a derby. And we've already said in your section today, he's such a key part of your play. We think now that he's a really good player for you, and he's probably just been a little bit underrated. Is he worth rushing back in if there has been a head knock?
For me, if he passes his tests, then yes, I'd play him, because we haven't got much expectations in the league. Let's be honest. We was just target for us this year was hopefully a playoff push. I think, not for us personally, but within the club. So, yeah, you play the guy.
And I agree with that. The fact that if he's passed it, medically he's safe,
Yep.
why would you not put him in?
Exactly.
If he's past it, then in my opinion, you're not rushing him back.
Yeah.
Like, Yeah, I don't think it's
I wasn't
against
serious
the
when I was
rules.
asking
Yeah,
if you agreed.
It's actually against the rules to rush someone back. Like I get it if it's like a calf injury, like I think Ardek has got. Yeah, you could potentially rush someone back from that because it's not against the rules to bring an injured player back with a calf. But yeah, Cust for me, if he passes, play him.
The others, we'll go with what we class as first teamers. Hardacre, calf, I personally think he'll play. Burrow, ankle, personally think he'll play. Harvey Barron, out. Jed Cartwright, out for a while, apparently. Cust, we've spoke out. I spoke to Susan earlier, and I believe Aidan, I think personally Aidan will be back because it's been very quiet, and when it's quiet around it, you tend to see the player comes back.
Yeah.
Don't forget as well, we haven't seen disciplinary yet. And
yeah,
like
we're a day early for that, aren't we?
we're a day
Unfortunately.
early, and I have worries on two fronts for you guys. I know we've discussed it. Don't think there's a lot in the tip tackle, but there was a yellow card.
Yep.
From Iborra. I could see that adding some points. Mm-hmm. And
Liam Knight
as well for you. And then on our side, Batchelor today, I was very unimpressed with the high shot that he put in. He was penalty. And now he did also go off for HIA. We don't know the outcome
No,
yet.
hamstring apparently.
Oh, was it hamstring?
Because Susan said it was HIA, and then I said, has he failed it? And nobody replied, so I was like, oh. And then on the coach back and on Matthew Shaw's Old Daily Mail ratings, they've both specified hamstring. So
Because they didn't cover it on TV, so we was unsure. But
Right.
so we don't know about him.
So they're specifying hamstring. So for me personally, I wouldn't risk him. Hamstrings are. I mean, I've had plenty of torn hamstrings in my playing career. I'll put that in inverted commas. Obviously, I only played amateur, but
It's not about snooker.
have you tried playing snooker with a torn hamstring?
The other ones for me, just to finish up on ours, Deneve and Essay, the guy
Sam Essay.
who went really well for us on Thursday. Problem is, we cussed on anything I noticed. Both our backup halfbacks, Callum Kemp and Jack Charles, both injured as well. So that,
Oh dear.
yeah, that could be interesting.
But for me, I probably won't rush back.
No.
Have you
we've
got
got
any
that-
more doubts or?
Not that maybe Batch.
No, only batch I can think of. We'll have to see. It's so
Yeah.
soon after the games. Niggles come out the next day. I think we won't know, so it's hard
No.
for us to say. On
Just keep an eye on our socials. I'm sure we'll get them
We'll
updated
update.
with.
Susan will.
Yeah.
Well, Susan will.
on
Yeah.
your side there, one of the things I've noticed today is when a team like Rovers are clicking and playing well, and they're such a good defensive unit, one of the ways to break them down is a bit unorthodox, but is to throw it around a little bit.
Huddersfield did
And
that today.
yes.
Huddersfield tried that today, and if you don't have recognised halfback pairing, or you're trying to put people into positions they're not so comfortable in, you do tend to do that, and this could work in your favour.
And this is, I spoke about it last week. I said it might be a bit of a. It'll be totally different games next week and Good Friday because
yeah.
we might be play a bit more, call it desperate.
Gung ho.
Yeah, because we'll throw the ball about, and like you said 10 minutes ago, we've got nothing to lose.
Yeah, absolutely. You want?
There's no pressure on us.
No.
So
Oh, it's in my notes.
if we've got nothing to lose, throw it about. Struggling, Craig.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before. Okay.
Yeah, all right, go.
Up
You've
to
given
now,
him so much
Susan
power.
can't give
Over-
it in.
Too much control over this.
over
haven't we?
17,000 tickets sold for the
I'm going
game.
to fly and headbutt him in a minute.
Still
you
a
put
week
your
away
phone
from the
down.
game. I'll just have a conversation with you. Yeah, all right.
Just the way I like it.
Just the way you
Sorry,
like
I'm
it.
back now.
And then I believe for the Good Friday as well, we've over 18,000. So the two games in, they probably hopefully push up to 20,000 each game. So
Give us more and we'll
40,000
sell it out.
40,000 rugby league fans for two games in 2 weeks.
It's impressive.
Let's praise it, then knock it, because
So
there's so many people knocking it at the minute. Let's
Let's
praise
be positive.
It.
Yeah, I like it.
We're going to get round onto the predictions after this, I'm assuming. So let's just, while we've been talking about it, let's grab our predictions for the cup game.
Yeah.
Obviously, Challenge Cup.
Good segue.
I was doing so well.
I praised you.
I know, but I don't like
You
compliments.
threw him off, but don't you?
You usually
It's
abusing
a
me, not praising
compliment.
me.
Well, it was a minute ago.
Well, yeah.
Go on then.
Anyways, just a bit of fun. No standings, no pressure on this. So we'll start off over there because I hadn't made my mind up yet because I only realised the fixture's about 30 seconds before we started tonight. But go on then. We'll get it on the derby because we've just been speaking about it.
We're starting with the derby.
We'll start with the derby. I know
God.
it's not in order. Let's get your predictions.
Can't we do that one last?
Nope. It was meant to be third, but I'm going now. And Yeah.
This is one of them that I've genuinely been thinking about this quite a lot, and if you want my honest answer, I don't know. It's either gonna be a really, really, really narrow Hull victory, or a maybe 12, 16-ish point Rovers victory. I don't think there's going to be any of this runaway victories like there has been in the last few seasons. I think we've got too much respect for ourselves now.
Yeah, I can't agree with that.
I don't think you're going to get back up to your 180 minutes without conceding a try during this fixture either. I think we will desperately get ourselves across the try line, even if it's the Herminator just powering through.
Herminator,
I love
my
it.
God.
Well,
That's
we've got
as bad as
SA
people
now.
shouting Sue.
We've got SA and SA. So for me now, it's SA and the Herminator.
Can't you just call
Done.
him Herman?
Actually,
Herman.
it's changed now, though, because today they've decided that Sue is now the boy named Sue. Do you know from the Johnny Cash song?
Oh, yeah.
So
I
they brought
heard
that up
that,
a few times, didn't they?
But yeah, so I mean, I'm optimistically going to go with a 2-point Hull FC victory.
Because
And that's by 2 drop
Oh,
goals.
I hope someone comments under YouTube, FC Bar 2.
because it doesn't matter on the prediction league,
FC by 46.
so I can go with my heart, all by 1.
Honestly, that'd be ace.
It wouldn't.
It would.
Unless it went to like 17-10.
79th minute drop goal, and then the crowd erupts singing about "You've not won anything since 1985."
The crowd that'll be left.
Like, yeah,
Because if we was winning at 79 minutes, a lot of your fans would have left.
no,
And that is not even trying to dig you out, that is fact.
nope. Anyway, go Josh.
Yeah, nervous about the game. It's a derby. There's nothing to say about it. I should be confident the way we've played. You've just explained all the injuries you've got. I've said several times I haven't seen you do an 80-minute performance, but you found a way to grind out wins. We've managed to beat teams that have ground against us this year. Wakey, Castleford. Huddersfield. I just picked it up straight away and ran with it.
In the first half.
My head says if the two teams turn up the way they've performed this year, on all form, we should win by 16 to 20 points, and everyone should walk away and go, that's what's happened. But then my heart says that isn't what's going to happen. I can feel it being painful, and I think we'll win by about 8. And then because I'm like you and I can't decide and I don't really know what to do, I've said that I'm just going to stick in the middle and absolutely Paul and just say Rovers by 14.
Fair enough. I said a couple of weeks ago when the draw was made, I would take a loss in this game as long as we win the league game. So, but that said, I don't want that to happen. I do think we will come away with the win by 8.
That's surprising, genuinely, because with the fact that Wigan are out of this now, this is probably your best chance of winning a
Not
trophy.
according to the bookies.
Yeah, but
So,
bookies said that you'd only win by 16 today, and look what you did.
14 on Paddy Power.
Bookies would still let you back on Burgess to score first, even though he was called out 40 minutes before.
And I think Susan's still drunk because she has gone by Rovers by 16. So he's actually given
entitled
a
to
score
his-
prediction
he's entitled
rather
to his
than just
opinion.
a prediction.
What's the next one?
So we'll revert back a day. Catalans and Salford.
I think Catalan. I've seen what Dean's put, and I don't think it's a big enough number. I think Catalan are going to just run absolute riot, and possibly like 40 odd points victory.
Wow.
Catalan by 24.
What's happening at Salford is not going to get any better. And what happened today with, I think it was Watkins and
There was 2 of them, weren't there? Watkins
Atkin.
was definitely one. Atkin was the other one.
Yeah, they
just pulled out. Like, that is only going to cause more problems this week, more friction, more adversity in the club, and it's only going to get worse. And then you've got kids who are going to end up getting dragged into, onto a plane over to France that won't maybe prepped for it. I'm going Catalan by 40.
Fair dues.
Catalan by 24.
Catalan by 20.
I've got 26. So I can see where you're coming from with the fact that he could run away, but I just want to say good on Watkins and Atkin for standing the ground and saying, look, you've
with him.
walked all over us too many times now. We've given you the benefit of the doubt. We've put the shirt on. We've played for you. We've played for the fans. good on them.
Yeah.
I would be exactly the same. And if they turn round...
Let's get
Excuse
emotional.
me.
It's
I
all
know,
right.
we've been there, haven't we? But no, we haven't.
Yeah, we didn't get paid for years.
Not
Every
good.
Saturday, turning the shirt out.
Susan's gone for a 32-point Catalan win.
34.
It changed.
Anyways,
Shouldn't even get a say. Like,
what I was saying was good on them. Like, because if they've not paid me and then turned around and said, "Well, I'm going to fine you $2,000 if you don't play," I'd just be big middle finger. Off you go.
yeah, if my payslip didn't come through and then I didn't sign up the next day and got fined for it, there's my
How
resignation.
can you find
Off you go.
somebody who hasn't been paid for something? It just doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. And Watkins, by all accounts, has been having talks with Leeds about
Fair.
moving. So
Cool.
watch this space.
Next game.
Moving on, Wakefield and Lee, a repeat of Fez Friday night's game, but flipped. Wakefield
I
at
think Wakey are going to back up 10 points.
At home.
Yeah, 10-point win. First home win of the season, I think it'll be.
Yeah. Oh, the big goal at home, I think, then they said.
Okay.
Yeah. I've gone the other way. I've gone Lee by 4. I don't know why, just I think they might be targeting the cup.
Jimmy took the words out of my mouth. I've got Trinity by 10, and I think it'll be their first win at home against a Super League side this year. The due one, they're nowhere near as bad as they have been or been made out. I think some of the players that have been missing are coming back that we didn't have the last couple of games, from what I've seen, and I can see them finally getting that win for those fans that deserve it at Wakefield for the effort they're putting in last year in the Championship and this year so
I'd
far.
like to see Wakey win, actually.
This week's game will have given them a bunch of confidence.
Yeah.
And then to back that up in front of their own fans with another decent-sized crowd, hopefully, for them.
Yeah.
I think they'll, yeah.
I've
do
also
it.
gone, I think Wakefield are going to back up. Lee
Say by
haven't
10.
offered.
Go on, by 10.
I actually had by 10 before we started these. I haven't wrote them down because I've only just jotted them there, but yeah, I did have by 10. And Susan's gone for Wakefield by 8.
8.
So
I think he said 9.
Should we just
Why
ignore
are
him?
these Saints?
Yeah.
Go on.
So yeah, final tie of the round, Sunday afternoon. I'm assuming I hadn't looked at the time. Warrington Saints.
I don't know why I'm going. I think because historically that's quite a big clash, but I don't think it is at the minute. Warrington by 14.
Why by 2 for me?
Is that by a penalty or 2 drop goals?
Ultimately, I don't care.
It's going to finish 18-16, and St Helens are going to score 16 drop goals. That's what's going to happen.
That's my dream. That. I love a drop goal.
I've got Wire by 8.
I think I'm with Dean. I think it's going to be close. I've actually got Wire by 3. I think it'll be near the end, and Williams or Sneed will just drop one over just to take a minute off the clock. And then Susan's got Warrington by 8. Not that we care, but yeah.
Okay.
Good effort.
Are you having just a little jump into the predictions league since we've got a week break off it?
Do you want me to get the?
I can give you a quick update if you want.
You
I
can
said
do
we'll
it.
do
You've got it
just
all
'cause-
wrote down. I've
yeah.
been away, and
I won't be doing this every week. It is Craig's job, so don't worry.
He's got a free pass this week.
Yeah, we'll let him off. Decent round for some, not so decent for others. But as a quick update, Dean was the best scorer out of us 5.
Again.
6 points for Dean.
I'm off the bottom now.
Yeah, we'll come to that in a minute. So 6 for Dean, 5.5 for Jimmy. The Apprentice, 5.5 as well. In the end, Craig 5 and me at the bottom with 4.5 points. So still not really a lot in it, considering how bad my round looked. Only 1.5 difference from top to bottom.
I'll take 5 points because I didn't even put the old game on.
You forgot
I forgot about it.
You forgot
I
the
won't mind,
Thursday
but
game
Jimmy
again.
messaged me at about 2:30 Thursday afternoon saying, "What's my predictions?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I need to do mine." Texted him his predictions and just didn't even do mine. Just carried on watching WWE, I think. Anyway, sorry.
No.
Lives a life, doesn't he?
2 shout outs just for our players and listeners that play along. So, big shout out to Mark Hutch, who was the best scorer in our round this week, 8.5. Everyone correct and some
wow.
good winning margins, very close, which is
Well
a good
done.
score. And then one of our Patreon members, Fredders, Danny Frederick. So, shout out for being a Patreon subscriber, but not a shout out for only scoring 3.5 overall. So, not a great round for him.
Called
I'm
you
going
out there,
to big
Fredders.
up Mark Hutch as well. The only Hull fan in the top 10.
Is it really?
I had a look at that before we started
that's
So,
recording.
but good round from him.
Yeah.
And then just as an overall quick insight as to what we're doing right now, so Craig is actually top of the overall league. So a middling round has not affected him. He's on 34.5. I'm third in the overall league, 32.5, so a couple behind. The Gopher is fifth. He's rocked up, 30.5 points, not doing too bad. And then Dean, moving off the bottom out of us, slots into 15th with 28.5 points. And then young James, bless him, 27.5 points, one behind his brother, and down in 20th.
I am not doing a forfeit again. I'm not doing it. Basically, I'm just going to watch what Mark Hutch is doing and just copy him every week.
The beauty is, because we put our predictions in so early on this, not often have other people in the league put them in.
Yeah, so I
there's
was
no way
thinking
you can
about
go-
this because, like,
Don't call it out.
with the Salford game and the way that the Salford thing evolved this week, like, I would have liked it if we could just
No.
post them,
No.
on game day, so I
No,
could pick
we
it
all
closer
take
to.
Us father in the same boat, so deal with it.
Well,
I
I don't like.
28.
I don't
Yeah,
like-
Wigan by
And if
25,
Craig
28.
wins, he won't be as harsh to you. Maybe, possibly not as Josh
The only
was.
reason it's making me laugh is because not only we agreed that already, I mean, it's very close as well. Like, to be honest with you, a
Yeah.
good round you can catch up. But you two were giggling and whispering before we recorded a couple of weeks ago about, me and Dean have been talking, we've got a real good plan for if one of us wins and what we're going to do.
Oh, yeah.
And now, the moment you're at the bottom, it's, I don't want to do a forfeit again.
No, well, I don't want to do a
Surely
forfeit.
you've got an inkling of what you want to give whoever loses if you win.
But what if you two have been discussing, and then what if you lose, or what if you lose?
If he loses,
He's
it was his idea, the thing that's
Right,
in our
okay.
heads. If he loses, I'm going to make him do it.
yeah, and the same with him.
Fair enough.
Like,
But
regardless of who loses, we're going to pick the same forfeit for whoever loses.
you just picked him up a little bit there, but the Apprentice, second week running, I believe, Wooden Spoon.
No, that can't be right.
Well, it's on there.
No,
No,
Danny
that's
Fredden's
still
got
from last
3.
week. It's still from last week.
Oh, is
that
it still?
Craig. Yeah.
Didn't want that anyway. Right, I'll shut up then.
We won't bring 10 beers, Craig, anymore.
Nan. And I'm 9th overall in the UK, just saying.
Effort. Well played.
The top guy's got 35.5, so I'm
Craig.
not a million miles away.
Craig,
Shut up.
I'll shut up now.
the Gophers wanting
I
you
hope
to
you
shut
get
up.
nasty comments online this week.
I did climb one place.
That
from
other
10th
Rovers
to
fan
9th.
didn't shut up this week.
That's what happens
I
when I've
wanna
had
know
a beer.
the-
I was compared to John Wilkins, who we're
Well,
comparing
no,
him to.
how did we notice you?
I'm more like Brian Carney. I just talk absolute waffle.
Looks similar, went to the same school. Both left Rovers at a young age.
Fair enough.
But did he train for Denmark? That's the question.
Anyway, yeah, that was episode 10. Much short. How long did we go for?
1 hour.
Just flash me the clock. Don't talk. 1 hour and 8. That's better, though, isn't it? That's better.
He's sassy
his
today,
missus is
isn't
here
he?
as well. I feel real bad bullying him in front of her.
Why she does it?
True. Yeah, so that's it. Episode 10, sponsored by Chris Griffin, Carpets and Flooring, recorded at a tribal venue that got much quieter by the end of the episode, thankfully.
There's that table down there that we can see. They cleared out after about
Yeah, it was
20
Josh's
minutes.
mates who didn't go to Rovers because it was Mother's Day.
All Rovers fans that came in to watch the game on the big screen, which you can always do.
You can.
Good plug.
Yeah, cool. All right, I'll do it. Bloody hell. See you, bye.
See you, bye.
See you, bye.
See you, bye.